The last couple of weeks, we've seen one heavy hitter after another make it known that they intend to go join the movement, join the show at Street Outlaws No Prep Kings. Marty Robertson being the most recent. I believe last week on dragillustrated.com, we broke a story that the legendary BadFish Barracuda would soon be making its No Prep Kings debut. Guys, we've seen Marty Robertson in everything from Radio vs. the World to NHRA Pro Stock. Here he is letting his intentions be known that he's headed to Street Outlaws. What's your take on this, Mike?
I think it's like we said, man, this is inevitable, especially in NPK. I think you're going to see this more, obviously, than the street show, which I think follows a different path. I think they're going to allow some of this, but it's going to be tricky. But I think that this deal has more of a chance at longevity and kind of surviving the onslaught of the big money teams or whatever you want to call them, because there is that third party force of Discovery, of Pilgrim Studios, of the fact that they're actually trying to, they have their sights set on other things than getting as many racers out there as possible or cars that are as quick as possible. So I think they're going to allow some of this, I think, for credibility, to show that these guys can come in here and it's not just an automatic win for them, that the racers that they have are, on the same level as a Marty Robertson or Odom or these other people that are coming in. But again, we saw some social media posts this past week, not really directed to anyone in particular, but it's pretty clear what they were referencing, that there should be some sort of some past history, or you have to be street in one way or another to be on NPK. So it's a little bit of a tipping point, but I have faith in Sam and everybody that runs that deal, and that's the thing. They'll keep it under control.
Sam's going to be the deciding factor, basically. So if he has someone that fits, whatever he's trying to do on the show or whatever storyline he's wanting to do, that's part of it. That's part of it being a show, and that's part of why it pays so well, because it is all over TV and it does do good in ratings. So, that's just part of it.
It's inevitable.
So you just got to
when you have
with
this much success and exposure, and people.
Some of the guys that were bitching, they kind of got thrown in too. So, I don't know what they're bitching about. I guess I'd say. I understand, but you weren't one of the OGs. There's several people that were bitching that weren't one of the OGs either. They've been in this point too. So,
the fact of the matter is that this deal's been going on a lot longer, I think, sometimes than we realize. What year was it that we put the Street Outlaws cast on the cover of Drag Illustrated?
I believe it was 2015.
Okay, so this deal's been going on for a minute now.
It might have been 2013.
I think that there's a couple of things. First and foremost, I don't know that you can hardly say enough about they have created an environment there that everybody wants to be a part of, man. Everybody is dying to be a part of that scene, to get involved somehow, some way. And it's kind of crazy because I see a lot of things that MPK has done. And now, granted, some of it has been on purpose. I think some of it has just organically happened. But I look at this is the type of feeder series that is so important. The fact that they've got guys like Marty Robertson bringing cars out, and there's other names, right? We got Callie Mills in the mix. There's a bunch of people that are showing up as a part of this future Street Outlaws class, looking, kind of ready. They're on deck, so to speak. And now some of them, the cream rises to the top. We've seen personality and character be a big part of this, but they've done a fantastic job of creating a place that people that are fighting to be involved in, and they're likely never going to have to worry about refilling their cup, right? We talk about it in sales a lot, that it's really important to keep your pipeline full because you're going to have churn, right? People are going to come and people are going to go no matter how great of a job you do. Life happens, businesses go up and down, and
crashes happen, part shortages. We're going to see a lot of challenges for these fields to be consistently filled throughout the rest of the summer. So you have to have some of it. It's a balancing act. I don't envy anyone that has to make these decisions and to balance this deal, because we've seen it. Look at the radio deal. We talk about it ad nauseum about what's happened with that. And I think that that's an example. I'll probably catch some heat for this, but that's what you want to avoid.
Well, yeah, and this thing's hot right now. I mean,
Yeah.
and for something that a lot of people said, oh, it won't last very long.
Right.
Callie Mills is in the comments saying right now, that Street Outlaws has been around longer than she's had her driver's license now.
It's kind of crazy, man. It really is kind of crazy. And I think some of the concerns, so there's multiple concerns. And I think one of the concerns is like going back to Marty Robertson and the BadFish, like there's no secret that this is a high level program, right? I mean, he's renting out a track. We've talked, JT, you've mentioned several times Ryan Martin and his success being largely tied to his commitment to testing. Right. And you see a team that has an NHRA background showing up over here. And I think that's what everybody's been kind of waiting to see is how this is going to translate. Right. The maintenance programs we've talked about, the things that happen away from the racetrack. I'm anxious to see, how this whole thing translates. I mean, there was a couple of comments here talking about it's not as easy as it looks to go from a prepped NHRA surface or a super prepped PDRA or Midwest.
Yeah, I think
Mike
Bowman said something about that.
Yeah, it's
Kevin Stevenson said Mike
not
Bowman.
Automatic, right? It's not an automatic. It's
not as easy as you think.
But I mean, Aaron Van Heel, a longtime friend of the show. I mean, No Prep Kings has become the hottest thing in drag racing, period. And it's very difficult to argue. We can kind of transition here.
Well, I mean, Marty could go race anywhere he wanted to, and he's raced in a lot of different places, and this is where he's choosing to race. So what's that say about it?
Yeah.
Right. There's a lot of things to take away from it, in my opinion. What I was going to point out, too, this is like the 4th or 5th or 6th iteration of BadFish. This car has had a fan following, very unique. People love this thing. We've seen
every power adder, right?
Pro Charger, twin turbos, screw blower, roots blower. The only thing that hasn't sat between the frame rails of that blue Barracuda is a nitrous engine.
Come on, Marty. Let's get a nitrous motor in that deal. Come on,
right?
Man.
Well, I mean, hey,
what are we waiting on?
That car has traveled to Saudi Arabia with us.
It
has. It did.
PT slept in it on the way over to Saudi.
I did. Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of amazing, man. It's kind of amazing to think of the life this thing has.